Who haven't heard about Alexander the Great? Alexander the Great, also known as Alexander III of Macedon, was one of history's most renowned military leaders and conquerors. He was undefeated in battle and is widely considered to be one of history's greatest and most successful military commanders. Alexander III was born in Pella, the capital of Kingdom Macedon, in 356 BCE. He was the son of the erstwhile king of Macedon, Philip II, and his fourth wife, Olympias, daughter of Neoptolemus I, king of Epirus. Several legends surround Alexander's birth and childhood. According to the ancient Greek biographer Plutarch, on the eve of the consummation of her marriage to Philip, Olympias dreamed that her womb was struck by a thunderbolt that caused a flame to spread far and wide before dying away. Sometime after the wedding, Philip is said to have seen himself, in a dream, securing his wife's womb with a seal engraved with a lion's image. On the day Alexander was born, Philip was preparing a siege on the city of Potidaea on the peninsula of Chalcidice. That same day, Philip received news that his general Parmenion had defeated the combined Illyrian and Paeonian armies and that his horses had won at the Olympic Games. Such legends lead people to believe that Alexander was superhuman and destined for greatness from conception. Alexander was raised in the manner of noble Macedonian youths, learning to read, play the lyre, ride, fight, and hunt. From a young age, Alexander displayed remarkable qualities and a keen intellect, owing in part to the tutelage he received from the philosopher Aristotle. At the age of 16, Alexander's education under Aristotle ended. Philip II had waged war against the Thracians to the north, which left Alexander in charge as regent and heir apparent. Upon Philip's return, Alexander was dispatched with a small force to subdue the revolts in southern Thrace. Philip and his army joined his son in 338 BC, and they marched south through Thermopylae, taking it after stubborn resistance from its Theban garrison. After the victory at Chaeronea, Philip established a Hellenic alliance, which included most Greek city-states except Sparta. Philip was then named hegemon, and announced his plans to attack the Persian Empire. When Philip returned to Pella, he fell in love with and married Cleopatra Eurydice in 338 BC. The marriage made Alexander's position as heir less secure, since any son of Cleopatra Eurydice would be a fully Macedonian heir, while Alexander was only half Macedonian. In 337 BC, Alexander fled Macedon with his mother, dropping her off with her brother, King Alexander I of Epirus in Dodona, capital of the Molossians. He continued to Illyria, where he sought refuge with one or more Illyrian kings. However, it appears Philip never intended to disown his politically and militarily trained son. Accordingly, Alexander returned to Macedon after 6 months. In 336 BCE, Alexander's father, King Philip II, was assassinated, and at the age of just 20, Alexander ascended to the throne of Macedon. He quickly consolidated his power and dealt with internal threats, securing his position as the new king. One of Alexander's primary ambitions was to fulfill his father's dream of conquering the Persian Empire, which was a formidable superpower at the time. In 334 BCE, he launched his campaign against the Persians, crossing the Hellespont, present-day Dardanelles, with his army, and beginning a series of military campaigns that would eventually encompass much of the known world. Alexander invaded Achaemenid Persian Empire and fell in love with Roxana, a daughter of Batrachum nobleman who served Bessius. In 327 BC, Alexander married Roxana in Macedonia Rite. Alexander's military tactics and strategies were innovative and highly successful. He used the combined arms approach, incorporating infantry, cavalry, and siege weapons in a coordinated manner, while also encouraging his troops' morale and loyalty. The Macedonian phalanx and the companion cavalry were particularly effective components of his military force. In 333 BCE, Alexander achieved a decisive victory over the Persian king Darius III at the Battle of Issus. This victory allowed Alexander to capture Darius's family and vast riches, further bolstering his reputation and resources. In 324 BC, Alexander married Darius III's daughter, Statera, as his second wife, and at the same ceremony, Alexander also married Statera's cousin, Parysatis. Continuing his eastward march, Alexander conquered Egypt in 332 BCE, where he was hailed as a liberator by the Egyptians who despised their Persian rulers. He founded the city of Alexandria, which would later become a center of learning and culture in the ancient world. The crowning achievement of Alexander's conquests was his invasion of the Achaemenid Empire, culminating in the Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BCE. There, he decisively defeated Darius III once again, leading to the collapse of the Persian Empire and Alexander's assumption of the title King of Kings. From Persia, Alexander pushed eastward into the Indian subcontinent. His campaign in India was challenging, with fierce resistance from local rulers, but he managed to establish several cities and strongholds in the region. However, facing the prospect of his exhausted troops mutinying, Alexander eventually turned back towards Babylon. In 323 BCE, while planning further campaigns, Alexander suddenly fell ill and died in Babylon at the age of 32. The exact cause of his death remains a subject of historical debate, with theories ranging from natural illness to poisoning. Following Alexander's death, his vast empire was divided among his generals, who established the Hellenistic kingdoms in the regions they ruled. The most prominent of these kingdoms were the Seleucid Empire in the east, the Ptolemaic kingdom in Egypt, and the Antigonid dynasty in Macedon and Greece.